subscribe.
一体どんな手を使ってどんな手も何も俺は元から
登録していた
Car D Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. This video is sponsored by Sleeve Chief. Their latest release, the Brothers Strategy Collection, comes out September 5th. It comes with a deck box featuring Doflamingo and Rosinante. It also features a Rosinante and Doflamingo sleeve, border sleeve, 2-player playmat. So if you're excited for this Don Quixote release, don't keep your wallet waiting and pick this up when it releases on September 5th. And use my code CARDKAIZOKU for 5% off your order. So OP08 comes out in 2 weeks now? Wow, time flies. And yeah, it is coincidentally the same weekend that Nats is at, right? The North American Nationals, the first one at least. So I don't know how we're gonna get 08 product. Maybe they'll sell it there. Oh, I say we because I'm actually participating in the tournament because I qualified. But yeah, I haven't decided if I'm willing to reveal my identity and meet fans yet. Still debating that. I guess check my Twitter on if I decide to do that last second. Maybe I'll do like a meetup somewhere. But yeah, this video will be going over the current meta leaders and then what will be meta in the next set once 08 releases, and any new cards in 08 that you should look out for to build out those decks. So it will only be 08 cards. This is just a quick like primer kind of video to just go over what you're going to want to look for to update your current decks to 08 once this releases, again in 2 weeks. Hope you guys got product. If not, singles are quite affordable, I think, so we'll just jump right into it. Oh, but before we jump into it, I'm going to cuck you for a bit. So subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'm going to try putting this in the beginning of the video. Maybe it does better, and then when I leave it at the end, because yeah, some of y'all don't watch past like the first few minutes, right? Okay, so first leader we're going to look at is ba-boom, Red Purple Law. So I don't need to waste any more time with this guy because he's banned. He's going to be banned starting 08, so he will not be allowed to be used anymore. It would have been like Black Maria and Pudding, but we don't got to worry about that anymore. So the next first real leader we have here is Rob Lucci, 07 Rob Lucci. So he is still going to be top meta. He loses Ennie's lobby, but I don't think that's going to stop him at all because what he gets is Jack, OP08 Jack. I guess I don't got to say the set, right? Because they're all from OP08. So Jack, 11 cost on board, 7 cost in hand, AK attacker, and then activate main. You can rest him, and then if you do that, you cycle one, draw one, discard one, and then you can KO a 3 cost or lower, which is actually a very dangerous effect in Lucci because this is a very hard to KO, whether by like KO effect or by attacking into it kind of body that gives you access to like a KO every turn, right? You don't need any more additional Dawn investment to access this KO. You don't need 4 Dawn for a Lucci. You don't need 8 Dawn to play out a Gecko Moria. Once Jack is out and you don't deal with him, plus the cost reduction from Lucci's leader ability and then the other black cards in the deck, he just kills something aboard every turn for free. And cycles a card too, right? That also helps Lucci do his thing. He fills the discard with CP cards and then plays Lucci's that return it or Spandies that return it to play out additional characters. So while Lucci in 07 is already like a top deck, Jack's gonna make it even like more turbo busted. In fact, Lucci was the only leader that could contend with Red Purple Law, who in the end got banned, right? This is a leader that could contend with a banned leader. So just to put that into context for you. We also got Who's Who, a new former CP9 2k counter. So he's searchable in the deck, he's usable with like Spandines and stuff like that, and then Kakus. And yeah, at the very least, he's a searchable and then like discard returnable 2k counter for the deck. But on top of that, he's a 5k attacker too for 5 Dawn. It's not the worst thing, right? He still can attack without any additional Dawn investment if you do play him out. And you will sometimes play him out because on play what he does is if you discard a card from your hand, you can kill up to one of your opponent's 3 cost lower characters. So same threshold as Jack, but you get a smaller body with this, who's a flexible 2k counter as well. And then on trigger, you can kill up to one of your opponent's 3 cost or lower characters. So even as a trigger, it's like an Ice Age trigger. Whether you play him out from hand or you trigger it, you kill something, and then if you counter with it, you can use it to pay for your other CP related cards in the deck. So it's a great boost in consistency for the Lucci deck. These are the only 2 cards for the Lucci deck though. Everything else is still the same. 8 cost Gecko Moria and all that. I lied. So 9 cost Kaido is not a like popular or common pick in Lucci, but I kind of wanted to test it out. This is just for me to remind myself later to test him out in the video. Because what he does is 9 cost 9k power. If you play him out, and then if you activate main once per turn, you can discard a card from your hand. So if it's the turn that you played the Kaido, this is like a pseudo way to do an on play. you could trash one of your opponent's 7 cost or lower characters, and then your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. We run the OP06 book right now that trashes 4 cost or lower. That gets rid of your opponent's Sabo. This Kaido kind of does the same thing, except he's also a big body that you want to use to attack into Black Yellow Luffy's too. So this is my like BY Luffy tech that I want to test out some more, right? Because with no additional Dawn investment, he can swing 9k into their elevated 9k body after they pop 2 of the baby Luffy's, Sabos or Aces. And then yeah, he kills Sabo outright, and then with your leader ability, -1 cost, you can kill a Gekko Moria too, right? Because your leader ability would make Gekko Moria cost 7, and then on top of that, they discard a card from the hand. They depend on hand resources. So yeah, I just wanted to test this guy out because I'm pretty sure Lucci's still gonna have trouble with Black Yellow Luffy, even with Jack and Who's Who. Speaking of Black Yellow Luffy, I hate this deck kinda. Yeah, I think I'm not joking. I don't like this deck. Usually I'm pretty facetious about that, and I just make jokes to like rile people up. But I truly, sincerely do not have a good time playing against this deck with any leader. Unfortunately for us, Black Yellow Luffy does not get anything new in OP08, but that kind of goes to show like the deck doesn't need anything new and it's still top meta. Isn't that kind of telling of the power level of the deck? I don't know. It's just frustrating to play against. And I do know that sometimes they low roll, but then the games that they do high roll, it just feels awful. It feels like you can't do anything against it. But enough about that. Up next we have Red Zoro, OP01, remember him? So he actually gets quite the big deck update, right? He can run like a completely new package in the deck. It's the animal package, so we get this chopper here. What he does is 3 cost 5k power on play, and then on your turn, or when you attack with it, you could look at the top 5 cards and play an animal with a power of 4,000 or less from the top 5, and then it comes out rested. So yeah, he's a 2 for 1 for 3, and then any turn that you keep him alive, he just cheats out additional bodies that saves you on hand resources. It saves your life too, right? Because your opponent will have to attack into your rested characters. If you get him out earlier enough, your opponent just can't ever like deal with the number of bodies you're pumping out every turn. And because of him, we do get to run some of the older animals, but we're only looking at 08 cards, so you can check my Zoro deck breakdown to see which of the past animals from the previous sets that you want to run in this deck. We also get Dr. Kureha, a 1 cost searcher for the deck. We know how 1 cost searchers perform in a Zoro deck. They become scary attackers later on, thanks to like cards like Makino, who can buff them for 3k for 1 Dawn. And yeah, this just looks at the top 4 cards of your deck for a Drum Island card, or a Drum Kingdom card, or a 2020 Chopper card in particular. And then we have Hiking Bear, a 2k counter animal. So a 2k searchable option with Kureha, or something you can cheat out with your 3 cost Chopper as well. And yeah, he's great as a 2k and also as an attacking body, because for 1 attached Dawn, when you activate main, you can give up to one of your other animal type characters plus 1000 power for the turn. So Dawn Leader makes him a 4k, Dawn on Hiking Bear makes him a 5k. Essentially you get like that Dawn back in a sense, because you can buff another animal for 1k. So it's almost like Hiking Bear is a 3 cost 4k power, because you can transfer that extra power from Dawn to another character in that way, if you think about it that way. There's also Robson. I don't run him in my current Zoro videos, but I did speak with Hiroshi Show about it, and I might consider him. I want to try him out, test him out some more. Shout out to Hiroshi Show. I'm gonna link his channel in the description below. He's a fellow One Piece content creator. So yeah, what Robson does is he's 3 cost 4k power, so he's cheatable by that other chopper. He has 1k counter too, which is great in this kind of deck. And then if you attach 2 Dawn, he gains Rush, so it's a Rush option if you need it. It's slightly less stat efficient than the Zoro, because Zoro's 3 cost 5k Rush. This is, if you attach 2 Dawn, it would be 5 cost 6k Rush, right? Which is like that Sanji from the starter deck 10. So not the worst thing, and he's flexible in that if you don't need him for Rush, he's still a cheaper body that you can like flood your board with before attacking the turn after. And then yeah, you'll definitely need like some of the choppers from previous sets, from EB01, from OP04, I believe. And then also the Shut Up and Come With Us, which is from EB01, but those should all be like dirt cheap anyway. Up next is Bonnie. Bonnie doesn't get too much new, right? She gets Carrot, so 5 cost 6k power on play, and when attacking, you can keep one of your opponent's rested 7 cost or less characters, like Frozen. It doesn't untap during the refresh phase. So yeah, this is a way to lock one character down on your opponent's side. This on top of your leader ability makes it really hard for your opponent to ever attack at you. So you do develop a lot of card advantage early on, in that you don't have to like use counter to save your life or anything. And yeah, you can starve out your opponent this way, because their stuff will always be rested for you to attack into. They'll have to expend counter to keep them alive or let it die, which also benefits you. There's also Electrical Luna, 3 cost event. On main, all of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less do not become active on your opponent's next refresh phase. So it's like Carrot, but it's like a mass Carrot, but only for 1 turn. But 3 Dawn is flexible enough to use. And then on trigger, you could rest one of your opponent's characters outright, regardless of cost. So yeah, just a lot of board control options for Bonnie now. Everything else in the deck is still that same Supernova / Don Quixote Pirates package that she always ran. Up next is Enel. So Enel gets Nami, 5 cost 5k power. On play, if you trash a trigger card from your hand, you can KO to one of your opponent's 5 cost or less characters. So it's a removal on top of Geratsu. Enel has like quite a bit of mid-game removal now. And then if you have 3 or less cards in your hand after doing this, you draw 1 card. But as an Enel player, you usually don't have 3 or less cards at that point in the game. In the mid game at least. In the late game, you're probably not going to be playing Namis. You're going to be chaining Yamatos and Aces and Katakuris back to back. But yeah, this card isn't even mandatory, I don't think. I think you can still run the deck without Nami, but it is an option there if you need it against like pesky 5 drops that you want to kill early. There's also Bonnie, 3 cost 4k power, down times 1 on your turn once per turn. When your opponent loses a life, you draw 2 cards and discard 1. So you're filtering 2 cards in your hand and you're +1 in advantage. But I think just like with Nami, this card isn't mandatory in Enel. You can pretty much still run the same Enel deck. These are like nice to haves. They're more like tech options, right? If you feel like you could get some board advantage by going a little aggro with this Bonnie early, that's an option. And also like if your opponent wants to deny you of Bonnie value from you drawing cards, they'll like counter their life and stay at a high life count. And that makes it so your 9 cost Yamatos can KO higher costed things too. Oh, and I also forgot to mention Nami has a trigger that lets you KO the 5 cost if you discard a trigger. So yeah, it's great. It's like a Onami, except you're down 1 card in hand. But yeah, it still kills something on board, which is what you want to do. Moving on to Gecko Moria from OP06, he gets nothing. So we'll move on. We have blue Purple Reiju, who was a deck that was almost non-existent in the East because of Red Purple Law's dominance. But now that he's banned in our format, Reiju gets to shine. She gets to actually be played. She actually gets to have less Dawn than your opponent to activate a lot of her extra effects. But all she really gets in 08 is Black Maria. So it's a 2k counter, 3 cost, 2k power. What she does is activate main once per turn. If you have no other Black Marias out, you can add up to 5 Rested Dawn from your Dawn deck out on your board. Then at the end of your turn, you return Dawn from your Dawn field back to your Dawn deck until you're equal to your opponent. So yeah, as I mentioned, Reiju plays at a Dawn deficit. You're always minusing Dawn being way less than your opponent. Black Maria just is like a get out of jail free type of effect for the deck because you just match your opponent back. So no matter how much Dawn you minus, as long as you have 3 Dawn at some point to play out Black Maria, you'll recover all the Dawn back that you minused, and then it makes it so that she has a lot of additional options for the turn. Because before, you'd play like 1 or 2 things max a turn because you barely have any Dawn for anything else. That's why cards like Portia were good. You could cheat out Ichiji, so it's like a 2-for-1 kind of thing. But yeah, with Black Maria, you could do so many more things. I think Judge would be a lot more consistent too, right? You'll hit 8 Dawn more often than not. So yeah, definitely a boost for the deck. And it's a 2k counter anyway, so there's no harm in running it. Up next, we have Nami, who actually does not get anything. Not that she needed it, I don't think, but she is getting stuff in OP09, surprisingly. But that's for a future video, so we'll go over the next leader. It's Yamato, green, yellow Yamato. So Yamato gets, I think, just the Nami. There's no like standard Yamato list either, because Yamato is kind of like a rogue deck, meta rogue deck. There's no like consistent topping list. But I can see Nami being used in the Yamato list, because yeah, KOing something for 5 cost is great for Yamato. You could get rid of pesky blockers and land your double attacks, or just get rid of things that your opponent can threaten you with. And then yeah, we do run enough trigger cards to guarantee that the on play will always have something to chuck for you to KO something with. But other than that, I don't think anything else fits into Yamato. I think it's still that green yellow Yamato Wano package with the Momonosuke's and then the Otamas and stuff. But we'll see. Up next is Blue Doflamingo OP01. He actually doesn't get anything either, but once the starter decks come out, which should be like, I think it's like a month after. But let me verify. Okay, they come out in October. Yeah, which is a month. They don't say the exact date, but if you wait a month, Blue Doflamingo does get like a super big buff, but in OP08 at least, for this release, he doesn't get anything at all. Up next is Purple Luffy. So Purple Luffy also barely gets anything. I'd say Linlin, 9 cost Linlin is an option, because what she does is 9 cost 9k power on play. If you return 1 Dawn and trash 1 card from your hand, you could add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life, so you heal 1, and then you can place one of your opponent's 6 cost or less characters on the top or bottom of their owner's life area face up. So pseudo removal plus heal is great for Purple Luffy, because Purple Luffy always has to ramp at least twice a game. So you're down 2 life, you're playing at 3 life for the whole game. Linlin helps you both get rid of an opponent's body that can attack into your life, and also heals you 1. So I think that fits into the game plan of Purple Luffy, but the spaces in the deck are limited. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a new Purple Luffy starter deck coming out too in October that'll buff him quite a bit. He gets like more Straw Hat options in the purple archetype. But for now, we have Linlin to test. There's also green black Perona from OP06. So I think Perona only gets Jack. I don't think any other cards in this set can be used in Perona. You could try out Carrot, but I think the slots in a Perona deck are pretty solidified by now, right? Because you want to run Ryuma and Gecko Moria to bring Ryuma back. Jack is just an additional KO option because your leader ability does give -1 cost or something, so it makes it so your Jack can hit 4 costs. And yeah, you can also run like the same cost reduction events that Lucci can run or Gecko Moria can run in Ice Age, or like Sudo's too. Sudo's can give -2 cost or something. So other than that, I don't think Perona gains anything for now. She does an OP09 though, spoiler for future sets. Up next is Boa Hancock. Boa Hancock only gets Jozu. So Jozu is a 6 cost 7k power character on play. If you return one of your own characters other than this card to your hand, you can bounce one of your opponent's 6 cost or lower characters to their hand as well. So yeah, it's a bounce option that can return one of your own characters to your hand too. And this triggers your leader ability to draw your card if you have 5 or less cards in hand. So you can bring back searchers to search a second time. And yeah, you're trading one of your lower cost characters to bounce one of your opponent's 6 cost characters. If you play this on tempo, on your 6th on turn, your opponent would have played something for 5 max, so this is like a big tempo swing for Boa. And then on top of that, you play like the other Boa character, 6 cost 8k that can free something, so there's a lot of board control options you have with Boa. And now you have Jozu on top of that. Moving on to Katakuri. So he doesn't really gain too much in the Big Mom archetype, but he does have access to Nami. Pretty much Nami is like the best yellow card to come out in 08 because it's so like generic and usable, flexible in any yellow deck, right? Just having a body that can remove something is always a nice to have. And then Bonnie as well. Katakuri does swing for 7. That it's hard for your opponent to defend against that. So more often than not, they'll take the 7 and then you get to draw an additional card with Bonnie. But yeah, the caveat is that you do have to get the Bonnie out, keep it alive, and then you have to expend 1 Dawn on the Bonnie herself to get access to the draw 2, discard 1. But the only other 3 cost option in the deck is like Perospero, so you do have room to run a second one. Moving on to Red Purple Luffy, so he doesn't really gain much. Every set he just gets access to whatever red or purple like boss monster that comes out. And in this set it's Silver's Rayleigh. He's a good one too, so I'd say it's a good addition to the deck. Because what he does is 8 cost 8k power on play. You can choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters, give one of them -3k, the other one -2k. Then you can KO a 3k power character on your opponent's board. So yeah, it just is a big body that you can ramp to. You can play him out earlier than any other deck can, unless it's another purple deck. But yeah, being that Silver's Rayleigh is a red card, other purple decks can't run it. You have access to the big red characters that other purple decks can't ramp into. And yeah, not only does Silver's Rayleigh provide removal, it also softens something for you to attack into, and then that -3k and -2k actually lasts on your opponent's turn too. So it's harder for them to attack back into you, especially as a Red Purple Luffy because you're a 6k base leader, so it's even harder to attack back into you. So Silver's Rayleigh does like make sense in the Red Purple Luffy deck. And that's it for the like existing leaders. The only new leaders I want to go over, there's only 2 that I think might be meta viable. So it's Kalgara, of course, mono yellow Kalgara. You will have to run quite a few cards from past sets, right? You'll run a bunch of the Sky Island and Shandoran warriors that were released in like 05, 06, and 07. There's like 1 or 2 from each set. But in 08 at least, you'll run this vanilla Kalgara. It's the only Kalgara character in the set and he has no effect. But you do need him to combo with this Norland character. Because what he does is 5 cost 6k power. If your leader has the Shandoran Warriors type, and then you have a Kalgara character in play, you can add 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. So you heal 1 if you have this character Kalgara and you are leader Kalgara, because he's the only Shandoran Warriors leader for now. And I don't know if it's Shandoran or Shandorian. Guess we'll find out once the official translations come out. I guess I could read the katakana, but I'm too lazy. These are just like fan translated cards I'm using. So yeah, there's that combo from 08. Do note that Norland himself is not a Shandorian warrior or Sky Island card, so you can't search him with any other card in your deck. There's also this 2k Wiper. He is searchable by both Shandorian warrior or Sky Island, and yeah, he is just 4 cost 5k. He can be a body you play out, because what he does is you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal it to 1 upper yard and add to your hand, and then you can play 1 upper yard from your hand on top of that, which is like a free search. You're searching into a searcher, essentially. But other than that, he's a 2k body out, and then you can cheat out this Wiper when you're at 4 Dawn with your leader ability as well. There's also the Earth Won't Lose. It's a 1 Dawn 3k counter that can only be used by Shandoran Warriors type leaders, which is Kalgara. And this is great. You have access to efficient defense in this kind of deck that you kind of need, because you're taking a life so often to cheat out extra characters. You need to defend yourself when you're at 1 life, right? Then you can even play an upper yard from your hand after this, so that also adds another card to your hand. It's a search. Well, I guess essentially it's a filter, because you're playing the stage out to replace that card in your hand with like a card that you want to play next turn, or counter potentially. And as a trigger, you could draw 2, discard 1, so that is also good at cycling out your hand. And then besides that, you'll run like Om Holy from 05, and then there's like a Wiper from 06, and then of course upper yard from 05 as well, and Shura from 05. And lastly, we have Purple Yellow Pudding. So it's the new ramp leader that can ramp into yellow big characters, especially 10 cost Big Mom. I have a feeling she's going to be meta as well. But in 08 at least, what she can get is Shoutout Katakuri. You do need this card for her deck in particular to work. So 6 cost 7k power. On play, you can flip the top card of your life face down and add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck instead of his active. So he ramps you and helps set up so that your leader can ramp as well. Because Pudding only ramps if the top 2 cards of your life can be flipped face up, and then you ramp after that point. If they're already face up, your leader ability can't meet its requirements to ramp you 1 rested Dawn. So that's where Katakuri comes in. So you'll take 1 life, go to 3. That means only the top card of your life is face up. And if you play this Katakuri, you can flip it face down, and then you also ramp 1 too, and then your leader ability can ramp you a second time for that turn. That's how you get to 10 Dawn guaranteed in a Pudding deck. And then also there's 9 cost 9k Big Mom, the one that we went over for Purple Luffy. This makes sense in the Pudding deck too, right? Because you're ramping to 9 or 10 really quickly. And again, it heals you and it also gets rid of one of your opponent's characters that you want to target stuff that doesn't have counter, right? Because that'll mess them up with their like defense when you're trying to go for lethal swings. If their last card, you know it doesn't have counter, it essentially does not add any extra defense into their hand when you're going for game. And then everything else in a Pudding deck is just whatever you would run in a Katakuri deck, right? You have Pudding, and then 10 cost Big Mom, of course, 7 cost Big Mom, and then like all the defensive yellow triggers as well. So yeah, that's all I have to go over. We went over a bunch of existing meta leaders and some new ones, and what cards in 08 that we're going to need to update them with. So hopefully you guys have secured your product. I'm going to be doing at least one OP08 booster box unboxing video. I think I have at least one coming, and then we'll see from there. We'll see what we need to update the rest of our decks, and then let me know what you guys pull from your packs too. In the Discord in the link in the description. We always have a good time when new sets release because we share what we pull with each other. There's always somebody, at least one person who pulls a manga, and I get really jealous. So could be you. Maybe it's the luck of the Discord server. I don't know. But yeah, I hope this video helped, or at least help you be on the lookout for what to pull from your packs or buy as singles once 08 releases really soon. Yeah, and like and comment on this video to make me happy, and subscribe to make you happy, or at least I hope it makes you happy. And so you don't miss my videos. Okay, bye.
Card D Kaizoku.